What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions podcast, where I am joined by Dr. Elliot Justin, who's going to give us a little bit of a lowdown on how, the special ring might be helping you out sexually and can be telling you a whole bunch of other things in your life that you may want to know. So, first and foremost, Dr. Justin, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing really well. I give a little bit of background to the story because I was never thinking I'd get involved in this kind of thing. I'm a background emergency medicine physician, and I'm certainly aware that there's no emergency that concerns a man more than ED, maybe a heart attack or a stroke, but ED is up there with something that's a lot alarming to men. And before Viagra came out, we used to have that men actually come to the ER in sort of an emotional crisis if they, because they'd failed. So about 3 years ago, a urologist challenged me with coming up with a way of counting the number of nocturnal erections that men have, which is a leading indicator of a man's cardiovascular health. I really had no idea. Everyone knows about morning wood. The partners still know about morning wood, but the other ones occur while we're sleeping. And what do they mean? So what I've learned is that an average man in good health has 3 to 5 nocturnal erections per night. If that number goes down, you have a cardiovascular problem or medication problem until proven otherwise. So if we come up with some way of counting the number of nocturnal erections, it would kind of be like EKG stress test for every guy's favorite organ. So when this doctor challenged me to come up with doing this, I thought, well, we can do better than that because we can embed sensors into a cock ring. And by doing that, we can actually measure the duration of firmness of erections while a man is having sex. So that becomes that's significant as well too, because what happens at night is important because it can be a predictor of heart attack and stroke. But what's happening to us during sex can be an indicator of everything from issues in the relationship, recreational drugs, alcohol, or more importantly, certain medication reactions. Antihypertensives are cock killers, erection killers. SSRI antidepressants are cock killers. And also utilizing that technology, man can actually see what makes it better. What's the right dosage for me? So this is really revolutionary technology. But in order to do it, we also have to change the cock ring.
Yeah.
So CJ, you aware of the cock ring problem?
I mean, I've never worn well, actually, take that back. I have worn a cock ring, but never worn the Firmtech cock ring, if that's what you're asking.
Well, yeah. Well, the problem with cock rings is they suck. They're made out of hard silicone. They
Yeah.
pinch. They're uncomfortable, and they're kind of like novelties. I'm like, what? I'm married 35 years, try to have sex pretty much every day. And we would basically, like once or twice a year, my wife or I would buy a cock ring. It's like, okay, that one is uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Get
pretty
rid of it
much. Yeah.
because they're made out of hard silicone. They're made the same way for like the last 140, 150 years. And you got to have an erection before you put them on because it's basically a chokehold in your dick. So if you put it on before you have an erection, it'll block the flow of blood into your penis.
Yeah.
And you can only wear them for like 15 to 20 minutes because they're made of hard silicone. They pinch. They're actually dangerous if they're on for more than 30 or 45 minutes. In order to come up with a cock that men could wear comfortably overnight, I had to make the ring out of a soft elastomer. So think like a stress ball, but a little bit harder than a stress ball, but
Yeah.
not as hard as as a car tire. Most cock rings are more like car tires.
Yeah.
And then I had to come up with a cock ring that's easy on, easy off for safety, but also because a lot of guys are challenged when it comes to putting on a cock ring. I'm just looking at you, CJ. You look like a lean guy.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm a lean guy. Both you and I look down and we can see dick. Most men look down, they see belly. Men your age, men my age.
Yeah.
And that's a problem for guys putting on. So now if you got a guy who wants to put a ring on because he he needs it or he feels it will enhance his performance. If that guy has had difficulties in the past, if he's now had 2 shots of bourbon, 2 puffs of pot to get his confidence up, he's got an impatient lady or partner waiting for him, and now he's also taking an necessary antidepressant, and he's not going to fidget with this hard ring and put it over his dick. That could be a challenge. So our ring closes with a hook. It's the first one in the world to close with a hook. So that idea came from scratching my wife's back. I mean, women know about how uncomfortable silicone is because they want the back scratched afterwards after wearing a bra all day. I was looking down the floor and saw my wife's bra on the ground, and I saw the hook. I thought, oh, duh, a bra is a ring that opens and closes.
Essentially, yeah.
So women don't put bras on over their head. So but making men put this uncomfortable thing over the dick. So we our ring has this hook, so it's easy on, easy off. It's safe, and because our ring is made out of a soft material, it doesn't block arterial flow. It only constrains the venous return from the penis. So that means that you can put on hours before sex. You don't have to like interrupt sex. Like, fidget, where's my cock ring? You know, where is it? So that's what's unique about the ring, as in terms of both form and material. Also, elastomer stretch. So our ring is one size fits all. I mean, if you're bigger than that in girth, no one's going to sleep with you anyway, man. So, you might be a rock star in your high school gym, your college gym, but that's really big. So, but with an elastomer allows adapts to us, whereas opposed to silicone makes us adapt to it. So it's been fun. We've changed the cock ring and we've put sensors in it for the first time.
Yeah, which is really interesting because you're combining technology and taking basically an old model that I agree with you, man. Like, because I was thinking about when Durex came out with the special vibrator, clitoris ring thing, or whatever, and try that out. I'm like, bro, this is the most uncomfortable thing that I think I've ever used. And on top of that, my wife really doesn't like it because I'm like, this thing's just creating vibration. It was super uncomfortable. And I mean, to your point, it's kind of like comfort is one of the most important things when it comes to, actually using these things in such a sensitive area. Because if it's uncomfortable, I'm not going to use it. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be comfortable. It's got to be comfortable for your partner too.
Exactly.
There's and it's got to make things better. So in terms of comfort, the great thing about this particular ring is that it's covered with a soft elastomer. So yeah, I'll show you one. So this material, this is really soft. So for sex with a woman, it provides actually something soft for them to grind against. I mean, you're a young guy. My wife is 69. I mean, grinding clitoris on pubic bone might have turned her on when she was 25 or 30, but it doesn't work for her anymore. So it has something soft, especially a little bit of lube on it, that you can press it against is really great. But there are a lot of other benefits to rings that guys just don't get. I mean, I know you've done some extensive work with pumps and extenders.
Yeah.
And pumps and extenders, I think are really valuable and work. But most guys don't have the patience for it.
No,
it's a regimen, and the guys I know actually who most use pumps are guys I know who are bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Because they already got the discipline, they just work it in with their routine. But most men are looking for faster solutions, like a fucking pill that will work for them. But the problem with the pills is that they put more blood in the penis, but they don't keep it there. So the great thing about a ring's a mechanical solution to essentially what's a plumbing problem. I'm the average guy who has ED or has ED that is of a psychological basis, anxiety, or new partner, or whatever. They get an erection, they lose it. So a mechanical solution to put is basically, okay, you got the erection. Now we got this confidence builder. You're going to put a ring on it, and it's going to keep you hard. I mean, my wife has actually tested this with me. She'll actually twice she's picked fights with me while we're having sex just to see if I lose the erection. If a guy with an erection has a very different mindset than a guy who's lost his erection.
Yeah.
So
100%, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I don't know about your wife, but most wives, I put it this way, a common male complaint about women is somehow in the middle of passionate sex, they can suddenly start talking about something else. like the fight they had with their mother, something went on with the kids, something happened at work. And if you've been married a long time, that's a turnoff.
Oh yeah, I
That's
mean, I've been married
but
for what is it now? 13 years with my wife, and no, I think we've been to I don't know. I gotta check how old my kid is. Yeah, about 12 years actually. But the thing is, it's kind of like usually maybe at the beginning it might be kind of like kind of random stuff, and then finally get into it, you're into it. But I find that yeah, you're right because I've talked to other guys where it's like halfway through, it's like you remember what happened last week, and the guy's just like, oh, I don't, and he just loses all the passion in the moment, and he's just completely done. Luckily for my wife, it's kind of like when I get her going, the engine's revving, and we're good to go, right? And it's the next thing you know, we got to get to Come Town. So. So that's kind of the way
but
that
there's
we like to do it, and yeah,
yeah, well, it's a just it's anyway, it's really the mindset is very different when you have a cock ring on, because then hey, you can talk about whatever you want. I still have an erection. You want to talk suddenly you want to talk about something else. That's fine. It
I'm
also
pretty
helps a
much good. Yeah,
good cock ring also helps to address the boredom factor.
yeah,
So maybe you haven't been married long enough, but again, I'm married 35 years. There's certain positions
yeah,
that are utterly boring for me. And there are actually positions where I'll start to lose an erection and want to do something else because yeah, I've been here before, like missionary position or having sex from behind. I mean, I think
yeah,
my wife looks great from behind, but I've been there like 10,000 times. So on the hand, if I have a ring on and now I'm a guy with an erection, totally different mindset.
yeah,
It's, well, I'm okay. You want to have sex in this position? Great. I'm making you happy. Totally fine with it because now a guy with an erection, as opposed to a guy who's thinking, I'm bored, or I'm going to lose my erection, or we got to stop doing this, after a few minutes. Guys just don't get that about rings. I think, the statistics are that 10% of straight men use a cock ring regularly, and 90% of gay guys do. So what does the gay guys get that straight guys
Hmm.
don't? What do you
yeah.
think? I've asked. I can tell you, I've heard the answer.
I, I don't know. I think they're probably more willing to explore that
Yeah,
realm. I don't
well,
know.
yeah, they're more into their dicks. Look, guys are straight guys really into their dicks. They're more willing to explore, and also anal penetration is harder than vaginal penetration. So having maintaining and maintaining erection during anal sex is more difficult, and that challenge can be overcome with a ring. But what are the advantages for straight guys, which are also advantages for gay guys too, obviously? A ring holds more blood in it than you can get normally. So when straight guys tell me, oh, I don't need a ring, I don't have ED, it's like my response to them is, don't you want to have a better orgasm?
Yeah,
Because it's not about need, it's about want. So, I mean, when we have a ring, my girth and girth, the length is different. You can't make yourself longer with a cock ring, but you can increase your girth. If you want to be longer, and probably better than anyone else, you got to use a pump. But if you want to
yeah,
increase your girth, which is for your pleasure, because you're not going to increase your girth with a cock ring by an inch. You're not going to, but you can increase it by a few millimeters. So no one's going to walk by me if I was wearing the ring and they say, "Oh my God, fucking porn star! Look, he's 5 millimeters girth increased." But that 5 millimeters means I'm holding more blood than I could hold with masturbation, oral sex, vaginal sex, anal sex, or even with a PD5 medication like Cialis. You can only achieve that extra girth with a ring. By
hmm
having more girth, the head of your penis is a little bit more swollen, makes your orgasm more intense. But when I was designing a cock ring, I deliberately put a little bit of light pressure over the urethra. By doing that, I don't want to block ejaculation because that's uncomfortable. A tight cock ring like a lasso can do that.
yeah,
And you don't want to have no pressure over the urethra because then your orgasm is ordinary. But if you have a little light pressure over the urethra, we now draw out the ejaculatory phase. So men who use our rings, their ejaculatory phase increases by 50 to 100%. So if it takes me at my age, probably 4+ seconds to complete an ejaculation, you're a young guy. You 30? How old are you?
35
35?
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a 35. For yours, is probably a second longer. Because you're healthy. But if you can increase that from say 5 seconds to 8 seconds, it's not as good as a vibrator for women, but it's better.
Yeah.
And I recommend it. I was like, you should. Frankly, every man should use a cock ring if they want to maximize their pleasure. and maximize the pleasure of the partner. Because you can also, well, here's another benefit. It's a benefit for guys who aren't married, again for guys who are married, which is with a good cock ring will keep you hard longer after you've ejaculated. So it's not. I've been married like for fucking forever. It's not as if I have to stay hard because I got to please my wife. It might have been an issue when I was in my 20s and I want to stay hard afterwards. But if I stay, but without a ring, without the ring, I lose my erection in say, I don't know, 25, 30 seconds. With the ring, I can sometimes stay hard 7 or 8 minutes. And if I take a tadalafil plus the ring, which is actually the ideal thing for most men, you put more blood in and then you hold the blood in, I can last 8 to 10 minutes afterwards. Now, again, at my age, the issue is really more, is an old-fashioned word, it's more of a romantic one. Because, the male mindset is, come and done. Hey, I've got an orgasm. I want a shot of tequila. I had an orgasm. Who's texting me while we're having sex? Or whatever. What do we do? What are we going to do next? But if you're there, if you stay hard after you have an orgasm, whether you're penetrating or not penetrating, you're still there in the moment. It's more romantic, more and more engaged. It's actually so. In terms of ring usage, well, I do want to talk more about technology, but in terms of ring usage, it's really actually changed marriage because there are positions now that we've given up having sex in because I was bored, and also I stay harder longer afterwards, which means that we're still staying horizontal. We're talking in bed. We're more engaged as opposed to okay, I'm done. What's next?
What's next? Yeah. No, it's super interesting. And honestly, to your point about that, it's almost like, let's say, like for myself, sometimes like round two, if it's right there. And I mean, I've done Kegels and other exercises, and I've done some other kind of like tantric practices as far as breathing and stuff, just so it's kind of like, I've been able to do certain exercises where you can ejaculate and keep going. However, with a cock ring on, I think I would be able to do that a lot easier, right? And it would be less of an exercise approach on my end, right? Because I could just leave it and be like, all right, cool, I'm ready for round two. And obviously, I think I'd be great for marriage. But the one thing I had that was going through my mind, like for us and like that do a lot of PE, right, which is just penis enlargement exercise and stuff. Like it reminds me a lot about clamping, and even post workout, we've talked about how like one of the modalities, and that's why I actually tried a cock ring on before, is like you would pump and then leave a cock ring on for some time just to make sure that you can keep your dick in that like enlarged state for longer.
Right.
And I was just wondering, would this lead to more growth post workout? Because you're basically causing an artificial expansion to a degree, right? And those 5 milliliters. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
we don't know. I mean, I will share. So we have men who are using our ring after they pump because our ring's more comfortable. The rings come with those tight silicone things. They feel awful. I don't know about you, but they're really uncomfortable. So ours is comfortable. So I'm going to plug another company right now just because it's important. There's Sam Itzhak is the CEO of Dr. Joel Kaplan. They're a big penis pump company.
Joel,
you probably heard.
Definitely, yeah.
So he uses our ring after he pumps. They're selling our ring because as an add-on when they sell pumps because our ring is more comfortable. So we have men using the ring for the purpose that you just mentioned, which is to they'll put the ring on, they'll keep it on for 20, 30 minutes after they've pumped or after they've extended. Our ring extends all sorts of benefits because guys who are using Trimex injections in their penis, because guys really have a problem, they get an injection. Trimex will last about an hour or two. Using our ring, these guys will last in 2 or 3 hours or more. So there are guys. There's another approach which is the injection of essentially like Botox and neurotoxin into the base of the penis in order to improve blood flow. And men are using our device afterwards to protract the benefit because it's plumbing. There are things that'll put more blood in, like tadalafil or sildenafil, but they don't keep it there. Now we need to plug things up, constrain things on the back end in order to hold the blood in longer. So hey, CJ, I'd be happy to send you one of our rings. Check it out. But as far as round two goes, I'm 70. Round two for me could be like 8 hours later.
Yeah.
But I have experience with our ring that if I take tadalafil with it, yeah, I can come again in about 60 to 90 minutes. Not as good a performance as your age, but
Hey
it's
man,
it's
if I get to your age, I'm able to do that. I'm gonna be happy, first of all. And second of all, there's not a lot of men that can say that right now. And I think, the other factor, and that's why, like, because I'm an online trainer, I help people get in shape. And one of the things that, and even when I was doing in-person training, it's like, you talk to guys and it's just like, in being in shape, it's like, hey, I can get an erection again. Like for some guys, that's a reality, right? And I mean, no, kudos to you because at your age, just doing the damn thing, hey, you should be proud of that. Because like I said,
well,
on
thanks.
society is right now. I think we're kind of in a bad spot as far as like diet, nutrition, all that stuff kind of goes. And that's why people kind of reach out for obviously for the Viagra, Cialis before actually doing other things like this. And I think this is a great modality and a great way for people to try something where it's kind of like it's not intrusive. You're not putting anything inside of your body. It's just kind of like you said, it's plumbing and just kind of keeping things there, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, real pandemics are diabetes, hypertension,
Oh God.
atherosclerosis. I mean, adult population. I'm certainly still training some of these guys. Adult population, diabetes is like 40%. Hypertension by age 50 or 60 is almost half the population. And then there were the meds, because the meds that people take, and antidepressants, antihypertensives, they have an impact on someone's erectile
Yeah. Health.
fitness, so to speak, health. So using our technology, people can then measure those impacts. We have men your age who are titrating their dose of antidepressants down to see where they can get to the point where they can perform sexually and still be taking the antidepressant. We have men doing the same thing with trying to identify what's the right dose of tadalafil for me.
Yeah.
Or I just talk even personally. I started taking lisinopril for high blood pressure last October, probably because I'm involved in the startup and that's a lot of pressure. And I noticed that my erection went from 100% down to 85% hardness. Now I'm not noticing it, but the machine is telling me in advance, just the way a
Yeah.
blood pressure machine might tell you in advance, or electrocardiogram might tell you in advance. Wait, there's a problem here. Something's going on. There's a change. So I switched medications to losartan, which I'm not even taking anymore because my blood pressure got better. But I mean, I'm certain that a lot of your clients who are training would benefit from this because
Mm-hmm.
the number of nocturnal erections and the duration of firmness erections reflects the cardiovascular health.
Yes.
And
Yeah, no, it's kind of like it's almost like a gauge for everything else, which is kind of ironic, right? Because it's our favorite organ and all that, but at the same time, when it's not working real well, you're like, oh shit, I gotta go to the emergency room. Something's off. I'm stressed out. I'm this, that. But even for myself, like I did a competition recently, right? A bodybuilding competition, and at the end of it in the last week, I was in a super stressed out state, right? Because I'm not eating a lot of calories and hormonally, I didn't get my blood work done, but I knew that my hormonal profile probably wasn't that great. And my, like my hard-ons were not really all that great. Everything was just kind of like tanked. My libido was gone. And this was just, this is a combination of starvation, maybe stressed out, getting ready for the show. And obviously being super lean as well. And at that point, it's kind of like, well, your body's telling you by not getting an erection that, hey, what you're doing to me kind of sucks. So I'd appreciate it, if you could get back into like a healthy state of being. And that's kind of where obviously using the technology that you have would be a great barometer, I guess, for just, hey, this is not working. I can clearly show you the data.
or yeah, or if you're taking supplements or steroids, and we had a
Oh, no juice.
25-year-old bodybuilder who's a state champion. I'm not going to mention his name. Anyway, his wife encouraged him to get the ring and he was like, "Well, I don't need. I'm like 25 years old and I'm super fit. I don't need the ring." Well, they had recently moved. He changed jobs. She was trying to get pregnant, and he was kind of putting off having sex at night, probably because he was
Lackluster.
he was insecure and lacked energy. Exactly right. So she got him the ring, and he's having 1+ nocturnal erections, like one, and then a week one. Guy should be having 5, maybe 6
Yeah.
at his age. And then he, basically fessed up to that he was taking a lot more testosterone and a lot more other stuff that he was,
Yeah.
and he stopped all of it. He now has 3 nocturnal erections per night, and she's pregnant.
That's
So
that's good to hear.
Yeah, but his attitude initially was, I'm too young. I don't need that. Et cetera. So by the
Oh
way,
yeah.
we have a product that we're just testing called the Max PR, which is a tighter version of our performance ring, a non-technology ring. He was one of the testers. He says he won't he won't have sex without it.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. So anyway, I the data is really when I a year ago February when I came up with had the first prototype, and I saw that I was having 4+ sometimes 5 nocturnal erections per night. It was I felt better than if I went to the doctor and the doctor said, "Hey, your CT angiogram is normal." I was like, "Oh, this is great. My heart is healthy and my cock is healthy." You know?
100%, man. And we're coming up here on the half an hour mark, but I just want any closing words for this chapter. But I am going to have you on because I want to go full in depth into everything about what we just talked about. So if you could just let us know where we can find your product and tell us more about if your websites, if you got anything, Dr. Justin.
Sure. Well, you can find the product at myfirmtech myfirmtech.com. And I'm available as well at Elliot at myfirmtech.com if you have any questions about whether the product is valuable for you. People use a tech ring. I'm available to help them interpret their data.
Mm-hmm.
And if I've had a message, it would be, rock harder and smarter. Put a ring on it, guys. You're missing out. If you're not putting a ring on it, you're missing out on pleasure. And if you do have a problem, though, you want the data. If you don't have a problem, we have a version called the performance ring. That's a great cock ring. But if you do have a problem, then you want the data. So you can not only rock harder, you can rock smarter with a cock ring.
And with that, we're out on today's episode. And be sure to check out the description because I'm going to make sure I put everything in there. Until the next episode, guys, we'll see you then.